Welcome, everyone. This is are the mics on? Can everyone hear me okay? Okay. Welcome to the March 21st, 2023 meeting of the Carrboro Town Council. This is a regular business meeting. We have a relatively short agenda tonight, but want to encourage council members not to get too relaxed because we have a pretty busy one, I think, coming next week, if I understand correctly. We also, of course, have the legislative breakfast coming on first thing Friday morning. We're going to start today with our poetry reading, and we have a special guest, and that is Susan Spalt. Welcome, Susan.
It's nice to be back in person again, isn't
Yes.
it?
Mm-hmm.
Before I read, I want to thank you all again for your support of poetry in Carrboro. The allergies have really gotten to me, and for all the work that Charles Harrington does. We appreciate it. And spring has just started, so I have two very brief poems about spring. One is about our grandson, Felix, and our family has just moved from Seattle to Pittsburgh, so we are very happy about that. And that is why I have more circles under my eyes than usual, because we have spent a lot of time with the two kids. Felix, how can I tell him these are just weeds that grow everywhere in the grass and cover the ground like yellow beads? Their roots are deep and they spread so fast. Then one day we're walking by, we see seeds like a cloud on a stick. We blow and make them fly. Soon there will be more dandelions to pick. The seasons change, the years come and go. Felix changes day by day and hour by hour. Soon he'll trade wonder for a hoe and see a weed where once there was a flower. I suppose pulling weeds is proper and wise, but today I see dandelions through his eyes. And the second one, and these are from my new book, Naked Ladies Bloom in Autumn. Whoever said bloom where you're planted was no gardener. Never found white iris stuck under a pin oak, crowded by hellebores, struggling in meager light. I thought they were a dwarf variety until I moved them to a sunny spot and watched them flourish with blooms like triumphant flags. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, Susan.
Take care in the pollen.
All right, y'all, we have a resolution on our agenda. This is one that has been appearing on our agenda annually at this time of year for the last few years. For Earth Hour, which is coming up on March 25th. I don't know if there's anyone from I don't think Laura is here with us today, but is there a council member who'd like to introduce this resolution?
I'll do that.
Do you want to tell us what it's all about?
Sure. Well, Earth Hour is a celebration that Carrboro has kind of grasped onto for several years. It started about a dozen years ago, and there's it's an hour on a Saturday, Saturday, March 25th, and the idea is to go dark and just appreciate the absence of artificial light. It's worldwide. If you go to the website, you'll see where the Earth Hour, there are depictions of maps where you can see where Earth Hour has taken hold across the globe. So I'm going to read this resolution. And I also want to recognize that there are neighborhoods that take to this very seriously, and they all turn out their lights for that 1 hour, and it's just a wonderful community feel when everyone engages together, and I encourage us all to do so. So, a resolution for participation in Earth Hour on March 25th, 2023. Whereas 8:30 p.m. on March 25th, 2023 has been designated as Earth Hour by the World Wildlife Fund, and as a reminder that through collective action, individuals can make positive impact on the fight against climate change. And whereas Earth Hour 2023 aims to increase awareness and spark global conversation on protecting nature, tackling the climate crisis, and working together to shape a brighter future. And whereas Earth Hour engages supporters in more than 190 countries and territories annually in support of conservation and climate action, making it one of the largest grassroots environmental movements in the world. And whereas Earth Hour involves a simple action, turning off the lights for 1 hour and giving an hour for Earth by spending 60 minutes doing something, anything positive for our planet to make this Earth Hour the biggest hour for Earth. And whereas Carrboro has recognized Earth Hour for the past 12 years, joined Cities for Climate Protection, and is committed to reducing greenhouse gas emissions. And whereas Carrboro made its first commitment to climate protection in 2001 through joining the Cities for Climate Protection, and conducted its first greenhouse gas emissions inventory in 2005. And whereas the Town Council adopted a climate protection resolution in December 2009, accepted the Energy and Climate Protection Plan in 2014, and accepted the Community Climate Action Plan in 2017. And whereas cities and states across the country and around the world are joining with Carrboro to demonstrate a commitment to addressing climate action by supporting Earth Hour. Now, therefore be it resolved that the Town Council hereby designates March 25th, 2023 from 8:30 to 9:30 p.m. as Earth Hour in Carrboro, and encourages all residents and businesses of Carrboro to join in supporting the aims and goals of this effort. Be it further resolved that the Town Council directs staff to send out a public service announcement to publicize Earth Hour, and be it further resolved that the lights in front of Town Hall will be turned off March 25th, 2023 from 8:30 till 9:30 p.m. in recognition of Earth Hour. This is the 21st day of March 2023, so I'll move.
Thank you, Randy. Is there a second?
Second, you didn't go to the podium.
Sorry, I didn't expect to.
I appreciate the reading, Randy, and I appreciate the second, Barbara. All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The matter passes unanimously. And Wesley, that was moved by Randy and seconded by Barbara. Thank you both. All right. We're going to move on now to announcement of upcoming meetings. Mr. Clerk.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Got a few updates here. First up, tomorrow, March 22nd, we have a Racial Equity Commission meeting at the Bim Street facility, 108 Bim Street, and that starts at 6 p.m. Friday, March 24th, as the Mayor just mentioned, we have the legislative breakfast beginning at 8 o'clock here at Town Hall. It'll be in here in the council chambers. March 27th, we have the Community Safety Task Force meeting at 7 p.m., and will be at the Bim Street facility. And then next Tuesday, March 28th, we'll have a Town Council meeting at 7 o'clock. That's all I have.
Thank you, Wesley. Any other town meetings to announce? Move on then to our public comment period, and we do have one person, visitor Linda Hawk. Welcome, Linda. You know the drill, Linda. We ask folks to keep their comments to 3 minutes and all that jazz. Well, set the timer.
Okay, I'm Linda Hawk, and I live in Carrboro, 102 Mill Rock Court. And I cut an out-of-town work trip short because I wanted to come talk to you after last week's meeting. And I want to talk to you about inclusion. That's how important I think it is. As many of you know, I often come to these meetings, and I definitely look at the videotapes. I've talked privately to many of you, and I've served on the TAB and other boards. I've heard from several people, and particularly women. I've lived in the town for, 47 years now, and I love it because it's quirky, it's a small town, and we have, at least in the past, followed these guidelines. which I try to live by, and I think they're very important. We're often like a family. We may have arguments, but there hasn't been, I think, until recently, a lot of stereotyping, but the whole idea of the other, treating other people as the other, not understanding other viewpoints or ways of living, thinking we know, not understanding the needs of others, or trying to silence other voices, I think is very problematic. And I think it's very problematic because of my own personal history. My family was one of 6 families that the federal recognition of the porch ban of the Eastern Creek Nation was based. And my great-great-grandfather was killed on his front porch for being an Indian. My husband's family were very wealthy. They ran the biggest department store in Berlin. They were of Jewish extraction and converted to Lutheranism. They got out with their lives. Luckily, part of the family did not. They perished in Auschwitz. I was pretty stunned by last week's video, and I'm coming because this is the 3rd time I've heard a dismissive statement from the dais. And that would be Sammy calling people little piggies. I think of, and also saying that people needed to park and ride to come downtown and take the bus. I think of a young mother who has 2 children and is working 120 hours a week between taking them to daycare, trying to go grocery shopping, having a full-time job, and keep a household. I think of someone who's disabled, as I was for a year, and couldn't walk. I think of someone who can't ride a bike, which I cannot ride a road bike anymore because if I fall off of it, I'll never walk again. I have a touring bike, but I haven't been able to ride it very well. I also think that, Damon, you're the mayor. It's your leadership here. And that if something comes like this and there's no call into question about it, in a way it's an agreement or consent, I would ask you to try to have a situation where we don't have this anymore, where we don't separate people. It is particularly out in the community and social media. And some of your supporters are engaged in it big time. It's dangerous. Seriously, I've talked to several of you privately about this. Really and truly, we need to live by this. And I haven't been seeing that lately. And it's really saddening to me. I mean, that's all I can say.
Thank
But
you.
anyway, thank
No, I
you.
appreciate the reminder about our discussion guidelines, and it's something that we always need to be doing better about, so I agree with you. I want to avoid us having a dialogue here. Okay, go ahead, Sammy.
Linda, I want to extend my apology to you and to the community. I didn't think about this as being offensive, but I can totally understand how it is, and I'm very sorry for the way that felt to you and to so many other members. I did not mean to be offensive, and I guess it will be very hard to explain how those words connect with what I was trying to explain, but I'd be happy to meet with you and any other community members and we can have that conversation. But I can totally understand how that came across and how inappropriate it was given how easily how it's heard. So very sorry about that.
I really appreciate it, Sammy. I think that's, very big of you. Thank you very much. Anyway, but that's my thing.
Point taken. Very well. Thank you very much, Linda.
Thanks for bringing that to our attention.
Thanks, Sammy, for your comments. All right, we're going to move on now to the consent agenda. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item is the approval of a resolution authorizing the town manager to sign the green tract deeds. The purpose of the agenda items for the town council to approve a resolution authorizing the town manager to sign the green tract deeds associated with the property recombination to allow for the transfer of the property with the towns of Carrboro and Chapel Hill. The next item is a request to set a quasi-judicial public hearing for consideration of a special use permit A subdivision project at 8522 Old NC 86. The purpose of this agenda item is to request that the town council adopt a resolution setting a public hearing date for consideration of a special use permit A for a subdivision project at 8522 Old NC 86. If approved, the permit will allow for the construction of 72 single-family homes. The next item is appointments to the Stormwater Advisory Commission. The next item is the appointment to the Racial Equity Commission.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. I have to say, y'all, I apologize. I missed an email thread that went around earlier this week about the item on appointments to the Stormwater Advisory Commission, and it sounds like that item probably shouldn't have been on the consent agenda to begin with. So I'd like to ask that we move that to a future agenda, Mr. Manager, probably relatively soon since there are some quorum issues on that board. But apart from that, I'd ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda. Thanks, Eleazar. And moved by Eleazar, seconded by Susan, that we approve the consent agenda, not including item number 3. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The matter passes unanimously. Move on now to other matters, which is our 2023 session legislative priorities. Council members, I sent around an email trying to collate essentially what I'd seen both from the agenda packet and from a few emails that we received from council members. And now I have to find that piece of paper. Here we go. And that should be printed out before you. It's a list of priorities that we've identified, and I'll just want to quickly summarize what this list is. Item number 1 on the list is referring to the North Carolina League of Municipalities priorities that we endorsed back in January in advance of that league vote that happened. So that included 10 individual priorities, which were listed in the agenda packet. And it was a list, as I said, of 10, everything from expanded federal and state funding for affordable housing, to infrastructure support, to economic development support, to water quality for municipal water systems, and some other things. So those 10 items that we endorsed back in January are what is being referred to in item number 1 here on this list. So we've already endorsed those. Items 2 through 9 are the items that we included in our 2021 priorities that we adopted. And you'll notice that there are 2 of those I've struck. And the reason I've struck those is because they're not really applicable anymore. In particular, number 8 on the State Maintenance Assistance Program, that one's already been resolved, thankfully. Former Representative Insco helped us out with that. But that's why those 2 items are struck there. Items 10 through 12 are the items that we received emails about from council members in the last day or 2. And then item number 13 is referring to another set of priorities that was shared with y'all back in our January discussion. Those were the joint policy priorities from the MPO that were adopted by both of our Triangle MPOs last year. So basically what we have here in this list is a total of, if you count the 10 league priorities and then the 10 on this page that are not crossed out, is 20 items to include on our list of priorities. So I think I captured everything. And we can make this very easy on ourselves if we want to by simply approving these, but I want to open it up for any comments or questions or a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Could I
Go ahead, Sammy.
Could I offer one more, just because, IPCC just came out with this latest report that, says this is our last chance to do anything about climate.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it would be remiss to not have anything in here about climate. So I'd like to add one more that would say climate emergency action at speed, scale, and breadth as called for by the science and climate justice principles.
I'll just say, can you do that one more
Climate
time?
emergency action at speed, scale, and breadth as called for by science and climate justice principles.
Thank you, Sammy. Any questions about Sammy's proposed addition? Eleazar and then Susan.
Something.
Okay, go ahead, Eleazar, and then I'll call on Susan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just didn't get a chance to send something in, but I did want to first, in the NC League municipalities, the priorities, the first 10, did we include something around immigration reform?
These were the 10 that, so they remember, they sent us a list of 16, and and they asked us to endorse 10. So these are the 10 we picked. I don't remember if the remaining 6, if any of those, I assume we would have picked one if it mentioned immigration reform.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if in those 10 it's that list. In that list we have that, but if not, I would like to add.
Yeah, in the 10 that we endorsed, there's not one. So
Okay, that's where I was going. Okay, I would like to add that we want to see a comprehensive immigration reform at the federal level as well. Thank you.
everybody cool with that?
Yeah, thanks for compiling.
And Susan, you're next.
Yes, I thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I just was hoping to make one addition to number 10. I think I submitted this and it got left off the list, but it would allow local governments to raise their minimum wage above the minimum wage that's set at the state level.
You're right.
So
Susan.
in other words, town of Carrboro could raise our minimum wage to $15 if we were so inclined, but I wanted to add that to the list in number 10.
Thank you for pointing out. I basically was pulling these from that earlier resolution that we had, and that one was not in there. So thank you.
No problem at all.
Any issues with adding that to the list on number 10? Okay, great. Thanks, y'all. So there was a motion by Barbara and a second by Randy to approve this list. Barbara, as the person who made the motion, are you okay with these changes?
Yeah.
And Randy?
Yep.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? List passes unanimously. So Wesley, I'll shoot you the final version that I have here written down in my scrawl. All right. Great. So y'all, we have this legislative, just one more issue on this, not issue, but just a reminder, we have the legislative breakfast coming on early, first thing, 8 o'clock in the morning on Friday here at Town Hall in the council chamber. We'll be set up. We'll have breakfast available for our state delegation. And looking forward to a good conversation. I know that they have a lot of information to share just from what I've been hearing from them about what's going on in the General Assembly, what we can be expecting over the next couple of months, both with the filing deadline as well as with what they predict the leadership will be up to after that. So things are moving very quickly with the budget and with other other bills being introduced. But I think we have some twists and turns to come. So we'll hear some more about that on Friday morning. All right. Yes, Eleazar.
Are we in other matters now?
We are done with that item. Yeah, so we'll move on to other matters.
I just wanted to let council know that I'm going to be sending a draft resolution over to y'all over the next couple of days for TPS holders, or to allow or to push the government to give TPS to Guatemala. If we agree to put on the calendar, on the agenda, the General Consulate of Guatemala will be here next week. So just look at that in your emails. But yeah, that's it.
The heads up. Is there a motion to adjourn?
No.
I think I saw Danny first and then Sammy. So moved by Danny, seconded by Sammy, that we adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thanks, y'all.
Time to sleep.
Gotta be, yeah, non-special.